My thought for the day is living the fullness of our stories. I'd like to share with you a short excerpt from my book, The First Santa. It's when the father is having a chat with his son. Dad was apt to ask the question, how would you describe Scrooge? Most people jumped in with bah humbug, miser, grumpy, mean, grouchy, stingy, angry, lonely, uncaring. My dad would chuckle and with a twinkle in his eye exclaim, he's wonderful. Isn't he the greatest gift giver of all? The very spirit of Christmas? At the very end of the story he is, someone would always chime in. Dad's demeanour would change, and pretending to be quite stern, he would quiz, which part of the story are you stuck in? We are all living stories. We are either the hero of our life story or the victim. The question is to take a look at where do we get stuck in the story? Years ago, I emigrated with my family to the United States of America. I've since emigrated home to Scotland. However, in 1993, we left. My son was 2 at the time and my daughter was 1, and we flew to Pennsylvania. We left behind a well-paid job in England, a council house, subsidised housing, which is very difficult to come by, and also a great support network of family and friends to go to the United States where I really didn't know anybody. Now, my brother-in-law, who lived in Pennsylvania, who, as I say, I really didn't know, was kind enough to say we could stay in his father's house. And we had thought the agreement was that we wouldn't need to pay rent until I got a job. However, that became very evident that it wasn't the case. So we were paying rent to stay in this place. It was challenging because it was a city and, well, I'm a countryside person. It was even more challenging when my son started to stutter, asking where his friends had gone, where his nanny and granddad had gone. And people back in the UK had said, you're crazy emigrating with 2 babies. It's going to fall apart. And I had to distance myself from some friends and family members who were saying that because I believed it was the right move. It was going to give my family an opportunity. Yet, as I was living the story, it became increasingly more difficult. Every Sunday, my center of the earth was a small place called Ephrata in Pennsylvania, where I would drive from Philadelphia to get all of the Sunday newspapers. You see, this was pre-internet days. Nowadays, you can look to see where the jobs are. In those days, it was scouring through the papers and circling and going, yeah, I'm going to apply for this one and this one. But nobody seemed to be hiring, or it took forever to get an interview. And all of the time, our money was going lower and lower and lower. And we were approaching the holidays, Christmas. And it's one of my favourite holidays. I do like to celebrate. And that year we realised that there wasn't going to be any money for presents. Now, we'd got a couple of things for the kids, and my wife at the time, I'd said to her, look, take $5 and go choose something. And I remember walking into this bookstore, and with my $5, I was looking around and there was a book and it said, ask me a question and I'll give you the answer. And I thought, oh yeah, well, answer me this one then, because I thought that it was the best thing bringing my family here to the United States of America. And I picked up the book and I said, so what am I meant to do? And I opened it up. And on the page it said, be realistic, plan for a miracle. And I was like, yes, please, I'm having this book. Be realistic, plan for a miracle. Very shortly after that, I got a job. I had a day to find a house, and I found a 3-bedroomed house to rent in a place called Red Lion. And most of my friends back home thought we'd moved into a pub. That saying, be realistic, plan for a miracle, has stayed with me throughout my life. And as we face these challenging times in our world right now, I say to each of us, wherever you are in your story, take this saying into it. Be realistic. Plan for a miracle. And as each of us plans for the miracle, we're going to step in as the heroes of our life stories. And that is going to help with the evolution of the world. In great gratitude.